Willie D Live.
What's up, family? We're in the 4th week, 17th day of the Diddy trial. And right now, it looks like, man, it's still hard to call. First, looked like the defense is killing him. Looked like defense was killing him for like the first 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, boom, the prosecution starts bringing in people to help them prove their RICO case. And the tides start turning. And then just when you think the prosecution got it all under control, the defense hit him with a counterpunch. Bing! The defense has been giving Mia the blues. Mia is a former Diddy personal assistant, and she tells the story of Diddy being abusive to her, sexually assaulting her, threatening her life, laying hands on her, and all types of stuff. The biggest part about her testimony is the defense's cross-examination of her, asking her about these messages that she would send to Diddy. Specifically, the message that she sent wishing him a happy birthday, where she said, "I love you with all my heart." And she posts this stuff all on social media for the world to see. You say, what's the big deal? The big deal is, this is 5 years after the alleged assaults ended. So the defense wants to know, if you're at a safe distance, it's over, you're away from Diddy, why are you still singing his praises? Why are you still talking about you love him with all your heart? So anyway, the prosecution get mad about that, and they tell the judge, wait a minute, man, they're humiliating the witness, they're badgering the witness, trying to embarrass the witness. And this is going to cause other witnesses in other cases to not want to come forward. What do y'all think about that, family? I mean, just a straight answer. I don't know, fam. I think if you get yourself in a situation where you are on that stand, you take that stand, you take everything that come with it. And look, I ain't got a dog in the fight, but I think that should have been some type of objection when the prosecution said, referred to Mia as a victim. The defense should have objected and said, wait a minute, no, alleged victim. She's a witness. You can't just say she's a victim, because if you say she's a victim, the jury can hear this. The judge can hear this, which means that anybody who's a victim deserves justice, right? And so I thought that was a little weird that the defense did not object to that. I don't think the defense should try to take it easy on her. What if she was a man on that stand? Do you take it easy on him because he gets emotional? Or do you do whatever it takes to win the case? Do you say what you gotta say to get him rattled, right? Perhaps get him uncomfortable enough or comfortable enough to start talking, to say something that's inconsistent with the testimony he's already given, or the demeanor that he's shown the court up until that point. You see? Because that is the idea of cross-examination, is to actually cross you up, get you off your square, because when somebody is testifying for the prosecution, they're poised, because, hey, these guys are on my side. So they're going to be very poised. And so everything's going to come out right, exactly as planned. But then you start crossing them up, then, next thing you know, somebody say something that they really didn't want to say. And the same thing goes for the defense witnesses. When the defense calls a witness, and then the prosecution gets to cross-examine. Boom, So when somebody is testifying for the defense, then yeah, they're going to say things that are going to be very consistent with the testimony that they wanted to give. And they're going to be calm and cool and collective because, hey, they speaking to a member of the team. But once that prosecution come in and start cross-examining, then it's a whole different story. This brings me to the story of Judge Greg Mathis. Judge Greg Mathis does not believe that Diddy is that dude that's being described. He's saying that, yeah, he, probably did this stuff, but that really ain't him deep down inside. Diddy's a choir boy, He's not really a street dude, His daddy was a street dude. His daddy worked for Bumpy Johnson. He was a driver for Bumpy Johnson, allegedly. Bumpy Johnson was like the most notorious gangster in New York ever. Some say black, some say point blank, period. I would think that the most notorious gangster in New York is whatever sitting president decides to visit the state. In any event, yeah, he said that, yeah, Diddy was acting hard trying to impress Biggie and his boys. Like, yo, I got to be hard around them because these guys from the streets, they ain't gonna respect me if I don't be hard. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that assessment. He could be right, could be right. But I think Diddy had the penchant for violence before he met Christopher Wallace, AKA the Notorious B.I.G. Diddy already had that type of reputation, for putting his hands on women and stuff like that. So, I'm not sure that I agree with that. But in any event, Diddy do got some issues when it comes to anger management. Yeah, he got some issues, especially with women. But the trip part is those women that he's had relationships with also got some issues because they, I'm sure, have heard about Diddy's reputation. And they still, dated him or made babies with him or whatever. And they did it for what? For the lifestyle, for the money, absolutely. The same reason Mia stayed, the same reason Cassie stuck around, the same reason all the rest of them stuck around. It was his access to money, his resources, the lifestyle, the options, the optics. That's what it was about. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.